by a reading of the school board prayer by the new president, Ms. Hood, and the leading of the Pledge of Allegiance by the Vice President, Joshua Hebert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Meyer.
Here.
Mrs. Barra.
Here.
Ms. Fletcher-Mickens.
Here.
Mr. Hebert.
Here.
Mr. Washington.
Here.
Mrs. Hood.
Here.
Mrs. Arso. Mrs. Dugas.
Here.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Heavenly Father, we come before you with humble hearts, grateful for the opportunity to serve the students, families, and the staff of this district. Thank you for the trust placed in us as leaders and for the wisdom and strength you provide. Guide our discussions tonight so they are rooted in kindness, respect, and a shared desire to do what is best for our district as a whole. Help us make decisions to promote fairness, growth, and opportunity for all. May our words and actions reflect integrity, compassion, and a deep commitment to the future of our children. Bless the students who walk through the schools, the teachers and staff who work tirelessly to educate and inspire them, and the families who support them each day. May they all feel encouraged and uplifted in their roles. Grant us clarity of mind, unity of purpose, and patience as we navigate challenges together. Help us to always remember the impact of our decisions on the lives of those we serve. We ask all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have the swearing in of the new officers.
Ms. Hood, Mr. Hebert, Mr. Lewis, I would like to first congratulate you on your new leadership roles and thank you for taking on the challenge of the new responsibilities and what they may bring. With that said, please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of this state, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as state your position. According to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God. Congratulations. Welcome. One goes to the state and one goes recorded.
I would just like to remind our board members to turn your microphones on and keep them on as per Josh Nake. Okay, we are on the agenda. A, adopt of agenda. I need a motion. First by Mr. Jack, second by Josh. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we move on to number 3, consent agenda. Let's see, we have a few resolutions this afternoon, so we're going to do those first. Superintendent, adopt a resolution of sympathy for David Rhodes Sr.
Thank you, Madam President. Resolution reads as such. Wait a minute. Whereas we, the members of Assumption Parish School Board, have learned of the untimely death of Mr. David Rose, an outstanding employee and citizen of Assumption Parish. And whereas his devotion and loyalty had come to be recognized as a most valuable asset to the Assumption Parish family of public educators. And whereas Mr. Rose served Assumption Parish School Board for 23 years. And whereas his life was a record of service and devotion to children, community, and family. His loss will be shared by all who cherish the education of the young, especially the young of Assumption Parish. Therefore, it be it resolved that the Assumption Parish School Board deeply regrets the untimely loss of a true friend and servant to public education and offers his family our deepest sympathy in their time of grief. Be it further resolved that a copy of this expression of sympathy is presented to the family with our deepest condolences. We ask the Rose family to step forward, please.
The screen's not going up there taking pictures.
Come on in. Turn around and face the crowd. And anyone of the family members would like to speak, please do so.
I would like to thank the board for taking time out to recognize David. He's sadly missed by the community, but most of all, his family. David was always a little doer, workaholic. And so many times I find myself talking to some of my sisters and brothers, and I accidentally call his name. And I would say, man, David, if you were here, I have so much to tell you. But I am talking to him because I look up and I know he's looking down. Thank you so much for all what you have done for, and to make his job what a success that it was for 23 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodman. Mr. Davis served Assumption Parish school system as a school bus driver and a warehouse employee. And I had an opportunity to work with Mr. David, and you are correct, you know, he went above and beyond for the school system each and every day. And we could not ask for a better employee, so he will be truly missed by Assumption Parish school system. I know our bus drivers, they did a phenomenal job in honoring him. So thank you, family, for allowing him to be with us the time that he was, so thank you.
Yes, David had an unwavering commitment to Assumption Parish school system. Even in his time when he was, when he was getting sick and stuff like that. And he never wavered in his commitment and his duties to this district. And I was at the funeral, as you know, Rodney, and the rest of the family. And I'll tell you what, the people that worked for him, under him, they really showed up and showed in force for him. And I was really nice to see all the folks that were there, the buses, and how everybody came and honored him, even from our neighbors just south of us in Lafourche Parish. So again, thank you all for giving David to us for all those many, many years, and God bless you. And look, you know, heaven, I have no sorrows that heaven can't heal.
Yes.
All of you are Christian folks, and I know you very well. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, and to this family, which I am a part of, if my name wouldn't be up here, I'd probably be sitting out there. I missed my picture over there, but David was a very good friend of mine, and I had the opportunity to speak with David, to talk with David in his latter days, and we shared a lot of things. And I was able to tell him thank you for the work that he'd done for the children of Assumption Parish, and most of that, moreover though, the things that he'd done for me and in the ministry of, he was a strong Christian, and he led by example, just as he did with the bus drivers. I could still see David early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, he's making his way, going out there to see about them buses and getting those children to school. He was dedicated, diligent, and committed to the school system and to Christ. And family, all I can say is I keep praying, and I'm going to keep praying. But God is pleased with the work that David did while he was here. And now he's with God. And I believe that you all ought to be well, and we love you. And if y'all ever need me, in which I'm gonna see y'all on Sunday morning, but if you ever need me, you know where I'm at. And I love you, and you're a part of me. God bless you.
I would just like to say that David is the most courageous person that I know. Because a lot of people would have never pushed and had that extra effort as he did. I admire him for that.
I know the Rhodes family is kind of held dear in Assumption Parish with public service and serving the community and being involved. When you hear the last name Rhodes, it's you know that you're involved and you know that you care about the community. And he's spent a long time with us, and public service and family environment, and it's just a part of how the family operates in your culture. And we appreciate that, and you letting him serve the parish for so long.
Yeah, David was my classmate. I went to school with David, Matty, and Charlene, and Rodney. But I didn't hang out with David that much. David must be sneaky. Charlene and Rodney was more a people person, I think. But when David got older, he became a people's person. But David was sneaky in school, I think. But all of them, Rodney, he was the best looking, I must say.
Oh, my God.
All right.
But I was telling Charlene one night, I said, my mama never let us sleep at other people's homes unless it was my aunt, my two aunts, and not my other aunts. They let us sleep home. But we slept at the Rhodes house. I said, how did that happen? My mama let us, the girls, sleep at the Rhodes house with boys there. And I thought about that, to go to Pontchartrain Beach and everything else. So that's how I know y'all were a good family, for my mama to let us go sleep there. And I was just shocked. More than once or twice we slept at the Rhodes house. Got up and I wore cookie clothes and went to church and everything else and this and that, because we had to go to church that Sunday morning. But on a serious note, David used to reach out to me for school and everything else, the bus drivers. But he did, one time he got mad at me with Charlene, said I picked Charlene's side, and he told me to go to Charlene. He not gonna help her. Go to Lecter, But on a serious note, one night he called me, and I'm like, this man is going through his problems, and he called out and reached out and said, anything you need, any question you need answered, call me, I'm here. And I just thought that was big of him, because I know he was going through his problems. And he reached out to me, because he knew I was new to it, So that's how I know he was a caring person. So I love y'all, but he's in a better place. It was time. Okay.
Such a beautiful testament. Thank you for sharing him with us as family. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say I'm so sorry, and our prayers are with you guys.
C, adopt a resolution of sympathy for Burgess Acosta.
Resolution reads as such: whereas we, the members of Assumption Parish School Board, have learned of the untimely death of Ms. Burgess Acosta, an outstanding employee and citizen of Assumption Parish. Whereas by her devotion and loyalty, she had come to be recognized as a most valuable asset to the Assumption Parish family of public educators. And whereas Ms. Acosta served Assumption Parish School Board for 6 years, and whereas her life was a record of service and devotion to children, community, and family, her loss will be shared by all who cherish the education of the young, especially the young of Assumption Parish. Now therefore be it resolved that the Assumption Parish School Board deeply regrets the untimely loss of a true friend and servant to public education and offers her family our deepest sympathy in their time of grief. Be it further resolved that a copy of this expression of sympathy is presented to the family with our deepest condolences. Council family, please come forward. If any family member wants to say something.
I just want to thank y'all for giving my mom the opportunity to work in the school system and for the family that her fellow coworkers were to her. She really enjoyed working with her coworkers and working with the children that she was able to serve on a daily basis. And we just like to thank y'all for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you, baby. God bless you.
Mr. Justin Dewey, the nutrition supervisor, now spoke today, and he said Ms. Burgess could run circles around anybody else, and he wanted me to convey his words of thanks for allowing her to be a part of the team, and that he fell in love with her while she was here, and she could run anybody out of the kitchen. So he appreciated that. Yeah.
With that, Josh, when Dot and I would go to the cafeteria, she hung with everybody else and left there and went to another job after.
Wow.
Very dedicated to her position, and we really appreciate y'all letting us have her for this many years, and thank y'all so much.
We're so sorry, and prayers are with the family.
God bless you.
6 years as a cafeteria technician in Assumption Parish.
Thank you for sharing her with us. A, approve minutes of December 11th, 2024 school board meeting and adoption of consent agenda.
Madam President, if all is so in order, I so move that we accept the consent agenda as it is presented.
First by Mr. Honoré, second by Ms. Cooney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to reports and recognition. A, adopt a resolution declaring January 2025 Louisiana School Board Member Recognition Month. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Barra, second by Mr. Abear. Any discussion, questions?
I can read it if you want me to read it.
Okay.
Proclamation reads as such: whereas the mission of public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children, to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society in an ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. And whereas the local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students. And whereas the local school board members are responsible for ensuring structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system. Whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education, are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district. Now therefore, I, the Superintendent John Bartholomew, do by declare my appreciation to the members of Assumption Parish School Board and proclaim January 2025 as School Board Recognition Month in Assumption Parish. I urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and in working with them to mold the educational system that meets the needs of both today's and tomorrow's children. This month is School Board Recognition Month. I would just like to say thank all the board members for your hard work and your dedication to Assumption Parish, but also your representation of your community. So thank you, and I appreciate you on behalf of the school system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We move on to B, adopt LSBA Code of Conduct for Louisiana School Board members.
Yeah. We need.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we go to B, adopt LSBA Code of Conduct for Louisiana School Board members. I need a motion.
So move.
First by Mr. Rick, second by Mr. Honore. LSBA Code of Conduct for Louisiana School Board members. As a member of the school board, I will endeavor to meet and adhere to the following LSBA Code of Conduct. Represent the constituents, parents, and students of the district which I serve, while remembering my overarching concern must be the educational welfare of all the students of the district. Respect and uphold the laws and the Constitution of the United States, the state of Louisiana, and the policies adopted by the school board. Respect and treat with professionalism and courtesy my fellow school board members, the superintendent, staff, educators, parents, and students of the district. Maintain decorum and professionalism in my communications with and about my fellow school board members, the superintendent, staff, educators, parents, and the students of the district, no matter the forum. Recognize that my authority is that of a member of the school board acting through the process of the school board, and that I do not have, nor will I attempt to exert any authority as an individual over the superintendent, staff, educators, parents, or the students of the district. Respect and adhere to the decisions of the school board while retaining the right to respectfully seek reconsideration of decisions with which I individually disagree. Guide and direct the concerns, complaints, and questions of the constituents, parents, and students to the superintendent for consideration and action in accordance with school board policy. Conduct my personal and professional life in a manner befitting an elected representative of the people and in accordance with the laws of the United States and state of Louisiana. Refrain from using the position as an elected school board member to pursue personal financial gain or aggrandism. Make a concerted effort to attend the meetings of the school board to which I am called and to be prepared to discuss and deliberate on the matters that are scheduled to me before me. Respect and maintain the confidentiality of information to which I am privy in accordance with state and federal laws and the fiduciary obligation that I owe to the district. Affiliate with the School Boards Association and avail myself of the continuing education opportunities offered thereby toward meeting my obligations for annual continuing education as provided by law.
Thank you, Madam President. I've been on the board for about 28 years, and I've never heard this read to us before. Thank you for the
Very
information.
welcome. Very welcome. Thank you.
Motion on the floor.
I need a,
You got to vote.
yes, correct. So, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? C, recognize and honor board members for achieving 2024 LSBA Certified School Board Member designation.
Thank you, Madam President. Louisiana School Board Association recognizes members for going above and beyond. This certification is for all school board members who have earned at least 20 hours or more of approved training. And I'll read just directly from LSBA, the note that they sent. The purpose of this correspondence is to provide school board members with recognition as certified school board members for the 2024 calendar year. LSBA has placed a voluntary program whereby a member is recognized for attaining a certain number of continuing learning units during the calendar year. This program is strictly voluntary and not part of the law regarding school board member training. Any school board member that voluntarily earns 20 hours or more approved training hours during the calendar year is recognized for their efforts as a certified board member at the Louisiana School Board Association Convention. Our certified board members are Mr. Honore Lewis, Mr. Joshua Hebert, Mr. Daniel Washington, Mrs. Bambi Hood, and Mrs. Jessica Arso. Let's give them a round of applause.
Dr. B?
I would just like to point out that the mandatory hours are 6 hours, so these board members have gone above and beyond. Personally, I wasn't able to do it, but thank y'all so much for what y'all do, because y'all do go above.
Yeah, the amount of information and the programs and things that LSBA puts on in conjunction with school board associations from states around us is really incredible for us to be able to learn different things about governance and about what our roles are and how we operate in our district. And it's good to meet people from around the state and other states to see how we operate against them. And it's interesting to see those differences and similarities as well. So I enjoy attending them, and I've been to one with almost everybody at the table here. So it's a good opportunity for us to get together too, to learn something new. So I enjoy those.
Right.
Yeah, finally made you make those hours, huh? Finally made you make those hours, huh?
Come on, girl.
No comment?
On this time, like, you know that,
Very interesting.
That's a friend.
Yeah, for real.
Moving on to policies and procedure. A, authorize the superintendent to change the March 19th, 2025 board meeting to March 12th, 2025. I need a motion.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Cooney, seconded by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
B, receive information on revisions to miscellaneous policies.
You have all of those. It's just for review. We will discuss those at the next meeting, but we want to make sure that everyone received them prior to the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Number 6, budget. A, approve revisions to salary schedule. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Honore, seconded by Mr. Abear. Any questions, discussion about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Is that we have a special meeting or form a committee to where we can go over these salaries, so before we vote on this, that we know what we're facing, and we usually do have committee meetings, so if you want to form a committee and put people, some of us on the committee.
Ms. Bam, you want to come speak to it? We do have a salary committee, but we definitely will extend that. Internally, we have it the district level, but definitely we can make a special meeting just for board members to also have a salary committee meeting. We could
So
definitely
who
do
picks the members that are going to be on the committee?
that.
Mr. Darrow does head the salary committee. This was just a change to put our after-hours work in line with the rest of our amounts. So that's why it was just a revision to our current one. But the salary committees, Mr. Darrow sends emails out, asks for representatives, and then forms that committee.
I'd like to see y'all add the high school principal this year, or someone from the high school.
We can make that note.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and this one is just approving what we discussed the last meeting, but the salary schedule, we're
Right,
still.
just for clarification, that we did discuss it. Ms. Brandy did explain everything at the last meeting.
Yeah,
I was out sick that night. I wasn't here.
and that's, just for clarification too, that salary schedule is still ongoing, and that'll be part of next year's budgeting, this year's budgeting process for next year as well, so.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you.
I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay. B, approve quote for new intercom system at Assumption High School. I need a motion.
So moved.
A second.
Moved by Ms. Barra, seconded by Mr. Abear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? C, adopt Canvas resolution declaring the results of the special election held in School District Number 1 of the Parish of Assumption, Louisiana, on Saturday, December 7th, 2024, to authorize the renewal of special taxes therein. I need a motion.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Honore, seconded by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on, number 7, facilities and grounds. A, approve change order number 2 for the project known as the Assumption High School Micro Center addition and authorize the superintendent to sign all necessary documentation. I need a motion.
A second.
Moved by Ms. Cooney and seconded by Mr. Abear. Any discussion?
Questions? This change order was to add tamper-proof receptacles. We had originally had the tamper-proof covers on them. Code now requires that those receptacles be upgraded, so this was something that had to be come back, and we had to come back and put them in to get compliance.
Okay.
The total amount of the change order is $1,634.29.
Need a motion?
This was per fire marshal code.
Fire marshal and building code, both. Previously, they used to accept the simple tamper-proof covers. It was a recent code change. We didn't catch it.
Okay.
Mr. Joseph,
Yes, ma'am.
how long have we been working on this project?
Too long.
How long was it supposed to take?
This project was supposed to take approximately 180 days. We are well past that. The project has been granted substantial completion. Everything was done. This was something that a code enforcement officer came in after the fact when we started to move materials into the building, and he cited it. It wasn't cited by the original walkthrough of the fire marshal's office, nor on our previous things. But the building is being occupied. It's not being used currently, but it is, they are starting to move equipment in and so forth, and we're trying to get everything dressed up so that it be ready for use when they are ready to use it. But it is occupiable. Occupancy has been granted.
It has been granted.
Yes, ma'am.
Joseph,
So
all
they
the
don't-
punch list item has been completed.
All of with the exception of this item, there are some guardrails and so forth that we need to come back and install. That was something that we are pursuing to install directly through direct labor and suppliers because of timeframes, and the timeframe with the current contractor was not working out to the best advantage of the school board. So that is something we decided we are going to take on, get a direct cost, and get that installed as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Ms. Duke, I see you here. When do you think you will be able to occupy this building?
It is not currently occupiable by the intended purpose.
I'm sorry.
We can't put the children that we want to put in it right now. It's not meeting code.
We can't use it because the receptacles are not in and the handicap rails are not on there. So the children cannot use it for its intended purpose.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? B, approve lowest responsible and responsive bid for the project known as the Assumption High School building repainting and authorize the superintendent to sign all necessary documentation. I need a motion.
So move.
Second.
First by Mr. Honore, second by Mr. Abear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes, we received bids for the above referenced project on January 6th. 6 bids were received. Narcan's Painting and Waterproofing Incorporated submitted the lowest responsive and responsible bid with a base bid of $830,024 with an alternate number 1 deduct of $18,500. The original estimated cost of the project was to be $900,000. We are recommending award to the current lowest responsible and responsive bidder, being Narcan's Painting and Waterproofing Incorporated.
Joseph, I have a question.
Ma'am.
When you showed us the model earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
there was some signage and stuff that would be placed on the school.
Yes.
Where are we with that?
That is, it's actually split into the 2 projects. A lot of the signage that you saw in the rendering is actually being installed as part of the ongoing 2-story project, because as you know, we are renovating the front of the school with the new arched canopy. That signage, including an LED sign, is being installed at the front of the school with the current ongoing project. The remainder of the logos and stuff down the sides of what we would call Mustang Alley and the other buildings are being installed as part of this project.
Okay.
The main logos and frontage, though, even on the 2-story building, are all being currently installed. We just received the submittals on the LED sign as well as the school logos and stuff for approval. So those are moving forward currently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. C, approve lowest responsible and responsive bid for the project known as the Assumption High School exterior door renovations and authorize the superintendent to sign all necessary documentation. I need a motion.
So move.
First by Mr. Aber, second by Ms. Barra. Discussion?
Yes, we received bids for the above referenced project on December 23rd. 6 bids were received. The lowest responsible and responsive bid was Valor Contracting LLC in the amount of $240,000. The original estimated cost of this project was $280,000. We are recommending award of the project to the current lowest responsive and responsible bid of Valor Contracting LLC.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So all these doors are going to the high school?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So
So
does-
these, we were wanting to get these in ahead, and the schedule in it, and it looks like it will work out, is we want to get these doors in ahead of the painting project. When we went through and did the original bids on the painting project, these doors were part of it. A lot of them were rotten, rusted, so forth and so on, needing new hardware. Didn't want to put good paint on a bad door. So we're looking to change these out ahead of the painting project and then get them coated.
The estimated time that this job would be complete?
The painting, this particular project, as soon as we get a delivery time on the doors, we're estimating that project should be able to be installed within 30 to 60 days, depending on delivery. The painting project is scheduled for 180.
Starting when?
Recounting.
Probably starting, now that we have approval from you all, we're expecting about 2 weeks for the contractor to get his bonds and so forth together. We'll have contracts to the superintendent, and then we'll be issuing a notice to proceed within the next 30 days.
And how many days he has?
He has 180.
180 also.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, moving on. D, review, consideration, oh, I'm sorry, am I supposed to? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, sorry about that. D, review, consideration of the master plan and consolidation proposal presented by CSRS on December 11th, 2024. Superintendent?
How many cards you have?
6.
6?
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, before we get into major discussions about the proposal that we received from CSRS, I think it was important that we bring forward the questions that we received from our constituents, because we did give everyone an opportunity to submit questions to the CSRS, as well as to my office. So tonight, I want to make sure that even though we posted those questions and answers on the website, I think it's important that we go over those tonight, but in a plan form, in a form that how we're going to roll this out. It's kind of like an early implementation plan. So some of this stuff may sound redundant. This may, if you read those questions and those answers, or even if you met with my office. I know we met with several school board members. We also met with several employees and community members. So some of this stuff may sound redundant, but we just want to make sure that we provide this information to everyone. Obviously, the plan that was submitted to us by CSRS is to consolidate the 7th and 8th graders at Assumption High School. And obviously, the objective here is to consolidate 7th and 8th grade students at Assumption High School to improve the quality of education, expand academic and extracurricular opportunities, and streamline resources operations, while ensuring a smooth transition for all students. Key benefits from what my office has kind of gathered and some things that we've shared. Obviously, the proposed consolidation combining 7th and 8th graders will allow for a richer academic experience due to a larger grade level cohorts, enabling better support for teachers and students, more personalized attention, and access to certified teachers. Also, we looked at advanced opportunities. When we look at advanced opportunities, we're talking about offering Algebra 1, English 1, high school credit, basically, and dual enrollment credit to those 7th and 8th graders if they're on a high school campus. We also look at enriching extracurricular activities. So in addition to the traditional courses that they will receive, we will have an opportunity to expand that into some of the extracurricular activities, such as STEM, Quiz Bowl, 4-H, Beta, things like that, robotics, band. Currently, right now, our students do not have band every day. This is an opportunity for them to have band every day, as well as a marching band, being part of a middle school band. More specialized support. So when you think about all the supports that we have currently in our middle schools, we do not have any counselors, any social workers specifically for those schools. They are basically housed at central office, and they visit and they go around the entire parish. So in this particular proposal, we will be able to provide more counseling service, more social work services as well, both on and also support our kids both academically as well as from the social emotional needs side. Operational from a finance standpoint, cost reduction. Obviously, the more grade levels you bring together, the more resources we can have into this particular school or this portion of the school. Also, it'll minimize school bus routes. So if we adopt this model tonight, currently right now we have most of our drivers have a high school route, they have a middle school route, as well as a primary school route. So you would eliminate the middle school route, so they have a high school route and a primary school route. So you actually can have more efficiency there, as well as cost savings for our school bus drivers. Any type of overhead as far as administrative costs, because we'll be pulling all of those resources together. Obviously, we want to optimize our staffing as well. So when you start looking at our smaller schools, a lot of our teachers teach 3 and 4 different preps. Well, when you bring all of the kids together, most of those teachers will teach 1, no more than 2 preps when all of those kids are combined, because you have more sections to teach that same particular course. Versus in a smaller school, you may have only 1 section, and then you have to pick up another section of a different course to fill your schedule. Logistics, these are questions that came up. I just wanted to make sure I bring this back to the community. Campus layout, separation of 7th and 8th graders from 9 through 12. When you look at the layout of the high school, we have the 9th grade academy. We will have the majority of our students housed there, your 7th and 8th graders, and then also a portion of our A building, the newly renovated portion that we just completed. I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. Those students will be in that area. Good. Also, your lunch periods, we have different lunch periods. You would not be on the same schedule as the high school students. You would not eat lunch there, and also you would not participate in any type of extracurricular or elective courses such as band and PE, those kids would actually have their own band, their own PE time. They would not be mixing with the high school kids, nor would they have courses, they would not be in classes with high school students. Academic schedule, obviously, we would kind of mirror what we have at the high school to some degree, but we have a modified version of that. I call it modified block. Where our high school schedule is on a 4x4. We would modify that for our middle school students to be out on an 8-period day or a 7-period day, but fit within the framework of the day. So if the school starts at 7 o'clock, for the high school students, our middle school students would start at 7 o'clock. If it ends at 2:30, our middle school students would end at 2:30 as well. Transportation, obviously, yes, there's questions around, where the kids would sit on the school bus. Your 7th and 8th graders would sit to the front of the bus. Your 9th through 12th graders would sit towards the back of the bus. And then we also want to optimize those routes so you have more efficiency on the route planning side. Athletics, physical education, you would have separate athletic programs. You have 7th and 8th grade students, they would have their own baseball team, they will have their own football teams, they will have their, everything will be separated as it relates to sports is concerned. There is an option if we would like to. Obviously, you may have some kids that might want to play that really good. They might want to play at the high school. That might be an option. But currently, right now, we will have an option just for 7th and 8th graders to play sports. It would not be a force to play on a high school team. And also for the PE, I kind of said that a little bit earlier, your PE classes, things like that, all your elective classes will be separated. Teacher instructional support, you would look at teacher collaboration. Teacher collaboration, 7th and 8th graders, those teachers will be able to engage in more of something we call common planning, where all your math teachers could be off at the same time, all your English teachers could be off at the same time, all the teachers that teach the same subject, where if you had a smaller school, we call them singletons. You may be the only person in that building that teach that subject. So you really don't have another think partner or someone that you could collaborate who teaches the same subject in the same grade level as you do. Also, we're looking at master teachers. This will give us an opportunity to put more master teachers in the schools to support a lot of the interventions, a lot of the teacher development, and a lot of the different programs that we have. Classroom student to teacher ratio, as far as classroom ratios, will not change. Our classroom ratio, the number that we use right now is 26-1. So when you look into it, and that's across the district. Now, it all depends on how many kids you have in that section, because in one class you might, if you have 30 kids, when we use 26-1, well, you might have 15 kids and 15 kids. But the goal is the maximum number that we have in any classroom, that we want to have in any classroom, is 26. Additional insights. What we're looking at as far as the 5th and 6th graders, they will remain in their current community. Obviously, that was a big thing, and maintain a familiarity and stability. So when you look at the transition, you're not transitioning to a middle school and then to a high school. You're transitioning only once from an elementary school to the high school campus. Access to additional resources, obviously, kind of said this a little bit earlier, but you have access to school counselors, social workers, and more instructional support. Special education, this is something that came up, some of our constituents, our community members asked about. There's no change as it relates to special education. We have to provide services according to an IEP. So we're not going to place kids or do anything different than what we're doing right now as it relates to special education when it comes to services needed and services required. Now, what you can have in addition to what you have to have for kids, if we need a physical therapist, we possibly could have a physical therapist or a PT person or OT person or some type of therapist located in that one section of the high school, 7th and 8th grade. For example, if we have kids that need some support from a social and emotional side, and we have a social worker, instead of that social worker going to 5 different campuses, 6 different campuses in the parish, that we will be able to house that person in one location for those 7th and 8th graders. And then also that reduces the workload for everyone else who has to travel to to the 5th and 6th grade, which will be located on our primary school sites. So it's really not, and I know there's some mention of moving special education students to another location. what we're looking at is possibly if we could partner with any outside service provider that can come into parish and provide our kids with specific services that our parents don't have to go outside of the parish. Then at one of the locations, for example, if we have a vacant building, maybe they can come into Assumption Parish and provide those services, and our parents and our students do not have to leave Assumption Parish. We're not moving all special education students to a site. That's a rumor that's going around. That's not true. Students will be placed in a least restricted environment, and services will be provided based on their IEP, which is currently in place right now. Budget, financial impact, we kind of briefly talked about this earlier. Obviously, we're not here to save a ton of money on this. Our goal is, in any consolidation plan, I know we're talking about right now on the agenda is CSRS, but any consolidation plan, the number one goal is to put more resources back into the schools. So any savings that we get from this, we want to make sure that we put it back into the schools. And currently right now, there's some things that we talked about earlier. We don't have school counselors for middle school. Well, we can have a middle school counselor if we combine and save funding so that those resources will go there. That's just an example. And then also we talk about capital improvement projects. We need to revisit based on CSRS's plan. We got some feedback on the condition of our facilities. So we need to revisit our master plan as it relates to how are we going to address some of the concerns that we receive within our facilities. So that opens up the door. If we save any money, you have more money for those capital improvement projects. Timeline as far as if this passes tonight or some other proposal passes tonight, we have to make sure that we start immediately addressing whatever is needed to carry out this plan. For example, we need to start talking and having a plan ready for our parents and our community members so we meet on a regular basis. So for example, we need to make sure that our construction is completed at the high school. Right now, it's scheduled to be completed May of 2025. All right. July, we're looking at the sites because we do have to do some site prep. We do have, and if this plan passes tonight, we have to make sure that we put 2 buildings at the Bayou Lewis site for the 5th and 6th graders. We need to make sure that we just a light renovation, not much, but renovate the 2-story building at Napoleonville Primary. So we have to make sure we have to get on top of that immediately if this passes tonight, or if any plan passes tonight. We have to get with our transportation because obviously we've already kind of started this process, but we have to upload those kids in the system with new addresses. Well, the bus drivers with new routes according to the addresses for the 7th and 8th graders now going to the high school. Start planning for as our teachers are concerned, who's going where, and also what additional supports we're going to need. Then the phase 2, we're going into obviously looking at the course offerings and as far as academic clubs and bands and things like that. Phase 3, your long-term goals, we kind of talked briefly about that as it relates to the capital improvement. I talked a little bit about this informing the public. You have to be very transparent. So if this passes tonight, we have to have meetings with parents who this will impact, and even really any community member who would like to know more information. And you have to make sure that we are addressing whatever questions they have. The meetings, I definitely would like to have monthly meetings leading all the way up to the opening of school. We definitely need to make sure that they're in person. I believe in that virtual option because sometimes people can't make it, but at least have something where we can upload some information so people who cannot make those monthly meetings, they can have access to the information. Also, what we need to do, we need to allow for our parents to select topics to talk about. Because if we, let's say, for instance, this monthly meeting was about transportation, and we would go over every single thing as it relates to transporting the kids to the new site. Well, some parents may have some additional topics that they want to talk about, so we need to allow our parents or our community members to bring those forward so we can add it to the agenda and address their concerns. And I just gave some examples: transportation overview, academic plans. All these meetings could be on those topics. Transition, that was a question around transition. How will we ensure that the students transition to the high school easily, or even to the elementary schools? So obviously, we currently do some of this, but I just wanted to make sure we reiterate this. Obviously, we need to have campus tours. So any 7 or 8 grader going to the high school, we need to make sure that our parents have access to the school. We need to make sure that our students visit the campus. Also, if there's any type of in-person tours or any virtual tours, we need to make sure that happen. Also, we need to have transition days. We need to have a day where the kids, during the school year, at the end of the year, this normally happens at the end of the year, that particular grade level will go to wherever they are attending. For example, right now, 6th graders have a day, 5th graders have a day at the middle schools. You know, your 8th graders should have a day at the high school because they will be going to that particular site the following year. So we need to make sure that we have those transition days. In conclusion, this is just kind of like a quick overview. The Consolidation Plan offers an opportunity to provide a richer, more diverse educational experience for 7th and 8th grade students, allowing them to benefit from high school level resources, advanced academic opportunities, and expand extracurricular offerings. By improving operational efficiency, reallocating resources, and centralizing services, Assumption Parish can ensure that all students, regardless of what grade level you're in, have the support they need in order to be in order to succeed. These are just, and that's the end of the presentation, Assumption for All, and I want to thank you. I want to thank my team. I want to thank every parent that submitted questions to us. I want to thank everyone for their input, but definitely want to thank my team because they work extremely hard in answering those questions and also helping create this early implementation plan. But I think it was extremely important that we have a repeat of what we posted on the website, but more in an early implementation plan format. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Madam President. I just want to make sure that we review the questions and everything that was submitted online.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We will now move on to public comment. I have 6 different cards, so as I call your name up, you can come up to the podium. Each person will have 5 minutes to talk, please, and to address the board. Please be mindful of that, and in no particular order. I'm going to call up Mr. Dennis Landry is first. Mr. Landry?
Oh, I knew that would be first. I had a few prepared comments, but I had to revise them because I was told we had 3 minutes, now we have 5, so that means I can really talk. As a former board member, I'm really against this plan. I know things change with time, but some things don't change. And sometimes old school is the better school. And I just want to say that I'm against the consolidation. For me, as a board member, it's déjà vu. If you don't understand French, that means we saw this before. Way back in the 70s, before I was on the board myself, the school board moved the 8th grade from the middle schools to Napoleonville to junior high. It didn't work out. It was a dismal failure. In fact, it was such a failure, when I got on the board a couple of years later, I was instrumental in moving those 8th graders back where they belong in their community schools. So, you know, I taught history for a little while, for a few years, and I studied history all my life. We study history because we want to learn how not to repeat the mistakes of the past. This was a big mistake made in the past, and it hurt. And it looks like we're going to repeat it again if you vote for this measure. Moving on, because I don't have much time, I don't think moving 6th, 7th, and 8th graders with the high school is a good idea. I don't like the idea of skipping middle school altogether. We move from the primary school to the high school. That's also almost like going from diapers to dress pants with nothing in between. The kid's going to miss all of that upper elementary, that middle school experience that they have. And right now, they're having good experiences out there. Okay? If the schools along Bayou Lafourche and Highway 1 need to be consolidated, I'm all for it. The Pierrepont School stands on its own. It's been a and B school for 10, 11 years, maybe longer. The people in the area, in that community, are very happy and satisfied with their school. We want to leave it the way it is. We don't want to have our 7th and 8th grade ripped away. In Pierrepont, Bell River, that community school is the heart and soul of the community. And after all, they're all going to meet up at Assumption High one day when they reach the 9th grade. So what I'm asking is that the Pierrepont School be left intact. Leave it as is. All of this beautiful program that you have set up, do it. but leave Pierpont out of it. Then we'll get there at ninth grade and we'll continue supporting public education in the parish. The middle school athletics, as we know it today, I mean, I saw something on the screen about some athletics, but I'm gonna have to see it to believe it. Right now, those kids, athletics is important. Academics is more important, but athletics plays a big part. My granddaughter's playing basketball tonight. I couldn't be there, had to be here. Might be her last game at Pierpont Elementary School. I forgot how the schedule goes. That's a sad thing. You know, I went to the parish tournament for volleyball. Everybody was there. All 4 schools were represented. The cheerleaders were on the stage. It was a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of good things. That all gets wiped away. This will have a very negative impact, I think, on the parish. It's going to have definitely a bad economic impact on the Pierpont area. We're going to be losing teachers, losing jobs, right when our community is kind of growing. And now we don't have that attraction of a great elementary school providing service from kindergarten through 8th grade. You know, that's one reason some people move to the Pierpont Bell River area, is to attend those schools. Now that's all going to change. The bus ride, some of you might not think much of it. I spent a lot of time riding a bus, high school and college. When you leave Pierpont School, it's about 20 miles to Napoleonville. With stops, it takes you about an hour. If you live in Bell River, add 5 more miles to the trip. Okay? You can do the math as well as I can. Coming and going, that's 2 hours a day for every student. 360 hours a year with butts on a school bus instead of being home where they can be doing their homework and doing other things around the house. 40 miles a day coming and going. You can do the math as well as I can. Math wasn't my strongest subject, but I knew 40 miles a day times 180 days. 7,200 miles. 7,200 miles in 1 year. And we're going to save money on transportation? I'm going to wait and keep my eyes open and see that. You know, as board members, sometimes you have to think about things. And in history, I think Ben Franklin was attributed with the statement that a smart and wise person changes his mind often. And you as board members, there's no shame in changing your mind at the last minute. And when I came on the board, I had an older, wiser board member than I told me at an early meeting. He says, you know, Mr. Landry, sometimes you have to vote with your heart and not your head. So some of you, you need to think about this. The other thing is, this plan, the people in Pierpont are totally opposed to this. You're going to alienate over 25% of the people of the parish. You're going to alienate and make those people feel like their voice is not worth anything. So if you go with the plan, you have to realize the consequences of that. A lot of people are going to take their kids, they're going to go more to private schools than they already are, and I'm a public school advocate. I'm proud to say that I went to Assumption High School. I love Assumption High School, and I love the parish. But a lot of people are going to go to Central Catholic and Holy Cross in Morgan City. They're going to go more to Ascension Catholic. They're going to go to Thibodeau. They're going to go to E.D. White. And that's going to have a long-lasting bad effect, not only on the middle schools, well, no more middle schools. Sorry,
Mr.
if you vote for this.
I thank you for your comments,
Okay.
but your
And
time is up.
the people are just going to be totally against it. You're going to alienate them. So think about how you're going to vote on this issue, because you're ramming something down people's throats.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis.
When I was on the board, I don't ever remember ramming things down people's throats. Time's up.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. Next comment card, Mr. Sean Rivera.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here tonight to express my deep concern about the proposal that threatens to dismantle one of the most successful schools in our district, located on one of the largest parish campuses. This decision to move our 7th and 8th graders would not only destroy a thriving academic and community base, but also undermine one of the district's most significant tax revenue sources. The consequences of such a move would be devastating to students, families, and the support networks that are the backbone of our community. Despite countless efforts to communicate with the superintendent, it is clear that our voices have not been taken seriously, especially the voices of the experts who truly matter, the parents and community members like me who live, work, and invest in these schools every single day. Schools are the cornerstone of economic success in their communities. They are not just places of learning, they are vital to stability, growth, and prosperity of the neighborhoods that they serve. Ignoring the people who understand this best would be a grave mistake. We need a school board that is united in its purpose and committed to serving all parts of the parish equally and fairly. However, it is critical to acknowledge that not all communities have the same needs. While equity is essential, it must be delivered in ways that reflect the unique characteristics and priorities of each area. Plans that fail to respect these differences will only undermine trust and create unnecessary hardships for those you are meant to serve. This is not about numbers on a spreadsheet or abstract metrics of success. It's about the students who walk into our schools every day, the families who pour their hearts and resources into their schools, and the communities that provide the financial and moral support to make it all possible. When you prioritize children and families, you tailor your solutions to their specific circumstances. You build the trust and cooperation necessary to foster long-term financial and community support for your plans. I urge you to think carefully about the long-term consequences of dismantling a successful institution. Instead, focus on solutions that strengthen our communities by keeping students local and providing proven support systems that ensure continuity and stability. Recognize that a one-size-fits-all approach does not work for our parish and will not serve its diverse communities well. We expect leadership that respects and values the voices of parents and community members and protects a thriving school for those who are most directly impacted by these decisions. Please, put politics aside and focus on what matters most. Uniting as a board to support the children and families of our parish in every corner. They deserve your best, and we're counting on you to deliver it for us. I share this message on behalf of myself and Ms. Beryl Gomez, who could not make it tonight. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Next comment is from Ms. Carol Oquan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I appreciate all of you giving all this time working on this very, very difficult issue. The managers that you got, the team that you got worked very, very hard. Lord, when I came down LA1 and I saw them remodeling the academy buildings, I said, Lord, what Dr. B got on his mind? I knew something was up then. I feel that I have one question, with several questions. I'm concerned that our 8th graders and 7th graders will not be on a block schedule. They will remain with their 9-week schedule and their regular classes like what they had at the middle school. So why move these children from our community when we're not going to have the same block schedule like you will in high school? Also, there's LEAP tests. How are we going to get by? Will it be Assumption High LEAP tests for 8th graders? Will it be, what will it be? Will they have LEAP? Will they not have LEAP? I'm assuming they're going to have LEAP because they will be on that curriculum. The other thing is extracurricular activities. You have so many gyms, you have one football field, you have one band room, you have them segregated in different areas, the 7th and 8th graders, because there's not enough room in one place on the campus. And that concerns me. Where will you put your special needs children? That's another concern I have. They have that right. Will you put them on a bus? Will you have supervision? We are sending a child that has an obstinate, defiant behavior. There was an incident in Pierreport where the PE teacher had to evacuate the whole school. The whole PE class, because he was having an attack, an uncontrollable attack. Will you have those special buses to bring those children? I'm talking on behalf of those parents and those children that have a right to an education. Also, if you're going to have a school where they have drama and play, but then you just can pick PE to take music, when will you put drama? When will you put robotics? When will you put all those extras? I did not see that in the plan. The support staff, I hear all about that at the high school level, but I'm concerned about middle school. What will we have at the primary schools, or whatever schools they're going to be called now, elementary schools? Will we continue to have a social worker? If we fix the problem little, we wouldn't have these problems as they get older. And that's a big concern for me, that you're putting all the attention on our high school and our 7th and 8th graders, and those little ones are left behind. And they're held accountable to LEAP. They're held accountable to the pupil progression plan. We have understaffed special education right now. That is horrible. We just lost an occupational therapist, has not been replaced. And Dr. B did allude that he is looking at agencies. But for God's sakes, these are the children that need the most. I'm a special ed teacher for years and years. Doris and Cooney know that. I have been an advocate. I have a cousin that has 3 special needs children, 2 autistic and 1 Down syndrome. Those 3, I promise you, till my last breath, they will be taken care of. The other thing is that the demographics shows that we can support the population, as does Libertyville. That was pointed out in the report that was given to us. The other thing is that you look at that map up here. You have Pierreport, and then you have to come all the way across and come down to Napoleonville. Now look, fellas, I'll travel it, but if you want to tell me that you can get there all the way, and you live at the Oaks, you live at Valle Tranquille, or you live over there in the retreat, which we have 4 students. I live at Bell River at Godell. Bayou Godell takes me. You can put it on a computer, but the computer doesn't get the traffic from Morgan City, the traffic from school, the people going in from Morgan City going in. We're a hurricane evacuation route. We have to take that into consideration. I too feel, let us get the middle school situation of 7th and 8th grade, whatever you have set up, set it up. And then when it's in place, you have enough room for the students, you've taken care of special ed, then move Pierreport to a position that would be offering them block scheduling, because nothing extra is being offered right now.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
All
But
right,
your time is
sweet.
up. I appreciate it.
Congratulations, Hot.
Thank you very much. Next comment card will be given to Mr. Julius Mobile.
Well, again, thank you all for having us. I myself am a product of Assumption High and proud of it. I was also integrally involved with bringing 2,000 more jobs to Assumption Parish, which brings in additional tax revenues. On top of that, the company just picked up another 4 or 5 years of work, which will bring additional tax revenues so you can do the right thing. And besides that, I've been involved in opening most all the satellite shops firms had across the country, and they're all still open, so I suspect that could go on way past us. Having said that, the issue we have is not we're against consolidation. Pierreport School consolidated years ago. right?
Yeah.
So we're not against consolidation. Logistically, what Carol pointed out, look at the map. Logistically, to expose our kids. Now, I came to Assumption High, 4 years, rode the bus religiously, okay? That same two-lane highway is still there. That's the only access. There's 50 times more traffic on that thing. So, again, what I think CSRS have not considered is the impact, the negative impact it's going to have on all the families, the kids, the parents will be hard pressed to get involved, 7th and 8th grade if they got to come to Napoleonville. So it's a very successful school. I'm saying you're going to have extra funds. You can modify. The one lesson I learned at Assumption High that stuck with me, believe it or not, pretty simple thing. I was running laps, and we had one more lap to go. And I physically didn't think I could do it. And coach, big old guy, I get down and said, Coach, I just don't think I could run another lap. I just can't. And he looked at me and he said, Kate died. So I never use that word again because it's so for us to sit here and say, you got 25, 30% of your constituents that, and I know 6 of you didn't have the opportunity to come to the school gym and hear a packed gym and everybody was saying how difficult this would be for them. And, you know, if it'd be a federal school, I'd say fine. And I understand Dr. B trying to do the right thing for everybody, and it's difficult. I've run business for 50 years. I understand that. But there's no way in hell that I would have gone against 30% of my workforce and shoved something down that's not a good way to start anything. So all we're asking is to consider the logistics of what you're putting on us and probably by your nose. And hey, I would be happy to volunteer to get on a committee or whatever to help look into, maybe get CSRS to further our study a little bit, but I can't look any one of you in the eyes and say, look, I'm telling you, you gotta take your kids from the nice, comfortable school you're in and put them on the highway for an hour plus, because it's taken almost an hour for some of our kids in Airport Boulevard to get to school now. I can't, in good faith, and boldly ask you to put your kids on the road, especially the highway system we're looking at, and say that's the right thing for your kids. I wouldn't ask you to do it, but think about it. That's what you're asking us to do, and that's been the whole fight, Dr. B, we've had, and I appreciate you met with us several times. You know, we all want to do the right thing. We're all one big happy family. I am happy to be from here. I could have moved all over the country. This is my home. Just like you, we're all proud of it. We're going to all make it better and I agree for everybody. So all I'm asking is maybe reconsider, you spend a little bit more money, let's do the right thing because there'll be more money coming in from additional tax revenues. You just got your tax revenues passed anyhow. So it's not a question about money, as you said. So if we want to do the right thing for everybody, let's not just rush and take the first proposal that, and I'm sure these guys have been around the block, and this probably works other places, and I'm sure it'll work on the bayou where all your class, all your communities are within 4, 5, 6 miles of each other. I guess my time's up. But anyhow, look, thank you all for listening to us. Please go back, do the right thing for all of the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Julius.
Thank you.
Comment card, Ms. Angela Gregoire.
Good evening. My name is Angela Gregoire. I've been an employee of Assumption Parish for 28 and a half years. I've retired for a year and a half. I am for the restructuring. I know that not everything is going to be right because in a typical day at school, trust me, you got everything planned out and something happens and it goes wrong. I feel like if we consolidate, everybody's talking about sports. Well, I have one son, he played sports. I have grandchildren now. I have an actress, 2 actresses, 2 singers, a dancer. What do they get? Nothing. 2 of my children are talented and gifted. They get 30 minutes once a week with the teacher because she's divided into 10 schools. My other granddaughter has an IAP, and sometimes she doesn't get what she needs because there's nobody to give her extended time in her test. All of you are here as school board members, and I thank those of you who worry about all of our kids and not just your constituents, because if I remember correctly, the majority of you cannot get reelected because your terms are over with. It's time to start thinking about this entire district and not just the people that you want to support. Yeah, we talking about they need social workers. The kid, when I was assistant principal and principal, the only kids who got social work minutes were those who were 1508. And it was very seldom that they got to get there because if a crisis came, we had to deal with the crisis. The social workers had to deal with the crisis. I was in a crisis with a child. I had to wait a half a day for a social worker to come to me and a child who was talking about committing suicide. Some people haven't slept a day. I haven't slept a night a lot of times because I was a parent, I was a teacher, I was an administrator, and now I'm a grandparent. So I have lost sleep many a nights worrying about not my children, but every child that I taught, every family that I touched. Because in Belrose, Mr. Honore could tell you, Mr. Jack could tell you, I got demoted, but we were a family. We cried together. We prayed together. I'm glad the high school's getting new doors because UPS had to pay for my doors, come paint my walls, come give us a playground. That's how we got what we got in Belrose because I fought for it. My teachers fought for it. Some of my parents fought for it, some of it didn't. They didn't like me because of who I was, but that's okay. UPS told me they didn't like me because I was a short white woman. That's up to them. When I was in school, I was 4 years old when I started school because my birthday was in November and you had to be 5 before December 31st. I don't know if you know where Caldwell Plantation is in Thibodeau, but I would catch the bus there with first grade on to 12th grade because we all went to school at the same time and we all came back at the same time and you're worrying about transition. I went to W.S. Lafargue in first grade. Thibodeau Lower Elementary in second, Thibodeau Upper on one side of the road in third, Thibodeau Upper on one side of the road in fourth. 5th grade, I went to South Thibodeau. 6th grade, I was in South Thibodeau. 7th grade, we went across the street. 8th grade came along, we lost our friends because some of us went to East, some of us went to West. We got people from Chack Bay. 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grade come around. I go to Thibodeau High. We get people back from Chack Bay because they come into Thibodeau. We get people back from H.L. Bourgeois, Shreva area, because H.L. Bourgeois wasn't there yet. I survived. I don't have any mental problems, not that I know of. Some of y'all might think I'm crazy, and that's okay too. And the kids that are, for instance, my granddaughter, she left Napoleonville Primary, left her mama, because she's a mama's girl, went to Napoleonville Middle, and if you approve this plan, she will have to go back to Napoleonville Primary, and then the following year, go back to the high school. That is just going to happen to this select group of kids because it is time to do something. This is not the first time we spend this amount of money to find out what we know we need to do. Somebody said something about, will they take LEAP? LEAP's mandated. So 7th and 8th graders, when they go to the high school, they're going to have to take LEAP. And they'll probably, all their scores will probably come together back under the high school if it remains the same as it has been for years. Asked about how you were going to have extra things. Middle schools have club day. We had club day. That's how the kids got stuff. Miss Brittany, if she's still sitting in the back, she does drama at Napoleonville Middle. They do it on club day and they practice after school. We talked about 30% of the parish. What about the other 70%? 70% is more than 30%. I was a math teacher. And we talked about people getting home late. Many a times, Miss Brandy and I stayed at Labradorville Primary when the bell rang at 3:20 and we had to wait for a bus till 4 o'clock. So our kids didn't get home till 4:20, 4:30 either. Thank you for your consideration. Please do what's best for all of our children.
Thank you, Ms. Angela. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts with the board. Are there, oh, I'm sorry. It must be stuck. I'm sorry. Yes,
That's
sir,
all
it
right.
is right there.
Mine's
Mr.
just not as
Dowell,
nice
Rivera.
as the rest of them anyway.
My apologies.
To Superintendent Bartholomew and all the board members, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Let me start by saying that most of the parents and grandparents of Pierrepont are not for this consolidation, as stated throughout the whole process. It was obvious early on that most of the other schools in the district was convinced by some board members and Superintendent Bartholomew that the Pierrepont School was getting more resources than others, or the term most used was privileged. You're right about one thing. We are privileged, but not because of anything the board has done. We are privileged because we have a community that cares about the future of our kids, whereas 350 to 400 parents and grandparents showed up to the Pierrepont School meeting, unlike any of the other school locations that had a maximum of 50 or so people. We are privileged. We have a very nice recreational park that we are proud to share with all the other schools in our parish. We are privileged because our leaders and residents of Pierrepont and Bell River are soon to be breaking ground on the only museum located in Assumption Parish, which will become a great learning opportunity for all the kids of Assumption Parish schools and beyond. We are privileged because the majority of our teachers and staff at Pierrepont School reside in Pierrepont and Bell River, and they have worked hard to create a great environment conducive to learning and make it an integral part of our community that people stand up to protect and preserve. We are privileged because most of the people in our community work hard in maintaining our successes to continue the growth and prosperity of our community. Ladies and gentlemen, I say all of this with no intentions to insult anyone, but more so to show the difference between communities. No two communities are alike, nor will a fix for one be a fix for all. It is critical that this board and Superintendent Bartholomew realize and understand that at this point, we should begin to scrutinize and be negotiating the plan to make sure every facet of this plan works for all schools. But instead, we are finishing where we should be just starting. Let me just mention some of the changes that has taken place already before the start of the plan. Early on, we were told that 7th and 8th grade students would be separated from 9th and 12th graders. Maybe you're doing that, I don't know. A&N buildings don't seem like they're close by to me. We were also told that 7th and 8th graders would be on separate buses. That has changed. We were told, let's see, what else will change from that point? Years ago, they transferred all 8th graders, as you heard Mr. Landry state, of the parish to one location. It didn't work, but at the same time, no one wants to discuss this matter. At least 6 of the 9 board members that are currently serving will be gone within 2 years, just as this plan is being executed. Although Superintendent Bartholomew just got a 4-year extension by the board, early in his tenure here, he applied for a position in another parish. What happens if he gets a better offer? Ladies and gentlemen, I say all of this for one reason. At least 6 board members gone and possibly Superintendent Bartholomew getting a better offer. Who will you hold accountable if this plan's not working? The consultants? Good luck with that. In closing, once again, I state we are finishing this scrutiny and negotiations of this plan where we should just be starting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darrell. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts with the board. Are there any motions?
Madam President, in order to start the process for this, I'd like to make a motion on the board, given all the information available, all of the meetings that we've had with the leadership staff, their guidance and direction, their work between the 2 proposals that were done, all of the outcomes that we can expect from this program. I'm going to make a motion for us to accept CSRS's recommendation plan and to enact that into the 25
I
to 26
think some of our
school
board
year.
members wants to speak before we make a vote. I think we have the right to express our attitude also.
No, I think we make a motion first.
And then we vote.
Yes.
Continue, Josh.
Yep, so I make that motion for us to accept CSRS's recommended plan and to institute that into next school year, 25-26
I'll
school year.
second.
Okay. Ms. Dodd? Do we have
We have
a,
a substitute motion?
do we have a substitute motion?
Madam President, I offer a substitute motion. I realize that some accommodations may have to be made, but being I was in that 8th and 9th grade deal, it seems to me that 7th grade might be too much. So I motion that we only remove the 8th grade from the elementary schools, not the 7th.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the table as well as an alternative. Ms. Melissa, can you take a roll call vote on the alternative?
Let's do this first, Madam President.
Sure.
We have our discussion.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Vote on the substitute motion, see how that goes, and then you can move to the additional motion.
Okay.
if that one fails.
Yes, sir. So discussion on the,
Go first.
I have concerns about the Napoleonville Primary School being the elementary school. We have heard for years that it is too close to the jail, so you're going to move more children closer to the jail. They also don't have a gym. You're saying you're going to have drama, band, whatever. Where are you going to hold your Veterans Day programs, your Awards Day programs, your concerts? You don't have a gym. Where are they going to practice their basketball, volleyball? I mean, one of my concerns for Napoleonville Primary.
Well, everything looks good on paper. I had a meeting this week with the superintendent, Ms. Ursa and I both went to the high school, met with our principal, discussed the consolidation. Would you believe that not one time was any of our principal brought into any meeting to speak about this consolidation? They have never taken anyone's information on what they felt like could work and what the strengths and the weaknesses of this consolidation. We have no idea. I got up this morning and I took my car and I went to the Oaks. I left the Oaks, I went to Bayou Godel. I left there and I went into Bell River. Now I pick up a child from that point to Napoleonville was 33 miles. We are told we're going to have 4 buses traveling to Assumption High from Pierreport. With those 4 buses, you're looking at them coming from Pierreport to Napoleonville, leaving Napoleonville, going back to Pierreport, making a trip in Pierreport for the elementary school, leave from there in the afternoon, come back to Napoleonville, and go back to Pierreport. Now, you tell me what expense you're going to have on 4 buses, going back and forth that many times. Also, we're talking about consolidating 7th and 8th graders. It looks good on paper, yeah, absolutely. But can you tell me what benefit it's going to have on the rest of our children? You are taking and putting 500 kids in Napoleonville Primary School. The lunchroom doesn't hold but 100 and something kids. What are you going to do to feed these kids? Where are you going to put them? We've been tolerating that in Pierreport for years. We feed more kids in the Pierreport school than the high school. Have you talked to any principal? I'm addressing that to you. Have you addressed this with any principal? Have you gone to the high school and sat down with the high school principal and asked him if he thought this could work? Have you? Can you answer me truthfully?
I think his Assumption Parish School System plan, and not John Bartholomew, the superintendent's plan, as is already
Who's gonna
communicated.
implement the
Wait a
plan?
minute, I'm speaking.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Assumption Parish School System plan, so let's address it that way, because I didn't create a plan, right, that we are talking about tonight, just for clarity. Second of all, I have not had meetings with principals. I have spoken to principals. I I have not sat down and had meetings with principals. I've had meetings with my staff, trying to organize and wrap our brain around how this could work. Obviously, you saw what we presented tonight. So to answer your question, the answer is yes, but maybe not in a meeting format, but I've had discussions.
You've had discussions with all your supervisors, lunchroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Transportation, all of this. You've had meetings with all of these people.
I've spoken to our staff.
I guess I'm wrong then, because I sure spoke to them today, and they sure didn't know anything.
Madam President,
Personnel,
can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Not enough. If I have
Yeah,
something
yes,
else to
sir.
say,
Yes.
I can say whatever I have to say.
Thank you,
Madam
Ms.
President,
Dye.
To be fair to the superintendent, he is correct. This is not his plan. He did offer a plan earlier before this. So let's just take that out of the equation. It's not his plan. But it is a plan that we have a motion. So in my opinion, like I just saying, 7th and 8th grade is a big difference. It's a huge gap between maturity and 7th and 8th graders. And I think what you guys also need to consider is 6th and 7th graders, you can field a basketball team, football team, whatever. They can keep their individual identities. Now, you can't tell me that you're going to consolidate all these people, and some of these kids are not going to be able to play sports. I know, sports is not the most important thing, but it is something, right? Okay, so what are those other kids are going to do? You think they're going to just, ignite the education? They're going to get discouraged. It's just not a good deal. At least keep the 7th grade. That's just my opinion.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Ms. Cooney, you said about the prison. How many incidents have we had with the prison? How many incidents, Ms. Cooney, have we had with the prison and the school system?
I have no clue. I just
But
know
you
it's
say it's
been
closer.
a
Yes.
concern for those parents.
But have we had any incidents? Yes, it only take once, but we haven't had any in all these years. And also, I'm gonna ask this question. We should have accommodation or access with Napoleonville Middle School, right? Being right there, like if she said we don't have the gym, the this and that at the primary school, but we do have it at the middle school, so we should have access, because we don't want to leave our buildings alone. So we should have access from the primary school to the middle school for the plays, this and that, the gym and everything else.
Yes, ma'am.
That's our plan, that's what I thought, not just let our schools go to waste because the state would take it. So we got to have access to our other schools. The only one I'm nervous about is Lavender Middle School, because it's by itself. But the other schools are kind of connected across the street or this and that, like Pier Park was, Bear Rose, So I just don't want our schools to not be accessible and we lose them. So like she asked about the lunchroom, this and that, could we still have access? And I think we should have access of Napoleonville Middle School also. That should be in the plan.
But Ms. Miklas, that's not on their campus. Primary school and middle school have shared the gym in Pierre Park for years. It's not right. The primary school didn't have a gym. If there's bad weather or something, there's nowhere for the kids to go. I mean, I think you know that at Napoleonville Primary already. They don't have room. Am I right? They really don't have a gym or anything. They have a cafetorium or whatever. But, I mean, that wasn't right from the beginning.
I'm saying we should make accommodations where we have access to it.
Yeah.
I would like to reiterate, the superintendent did bring a plan to the board, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so. That was put together, that he did have input from the principals and other administrators in the district, and it was voted down. And at that point, we were asked to bring in a consultant, which we did. And for some, $100,000 that it cost us. And what a waste of taxpayers' money if we don't take their recommendation.
Yeah.
The talk about.
I would ask you to refrain from speaking. Let the board speak, please.
You want to talk about kids being bused, talk to any of the parents that are here from Bayou Lures. And if you want to talk about not having a gym to fit the kids, ask some of the adults sitting in the audience that had their programs outside in rain and wind and freezing temperatures.
This is a board discussion. It's not
Board
open.
discussion.
This is not open for public comment, sir.
And also,
Let me ask you something. How many students from the Pier Part area ride the bus to the high school? Roughly?
We have this, around 40-some kids.
Not that many.
With 2 buses, not that many, but, you know, we do have 2 buses to transport those kids.
No, we have 1 bus in the 2 buses in the morning, 1 bus in the afternoon.
My system is, we have 2 buses in that area picking up high school kids and bringing those kids to the high school. Now, if you want to say we have 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, we have 2 buses in our system dedicated just for Pierre Port High School students.
So you're paying a bus driver that doesn't come to Napoleonville?
We have 2 buses from Assumption Parish that goes to Pierre Port for high school students, and those buses are responsible for the high school students coming to and from the high school.
It doesn't matter how many you got to accommodate those kids. That's what you're saying.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but aren't we just sending 1 bus back in the afternoon?
Yes, we are.
In Assumption Parish, we have 2 buses that are dedicated for the students in Pierre Port to bring those kids to school and to bring those kids back home.
But we are double loading in the afternoon and they ride back on 1 bus.
We have 1 bus driver that runs her morning route, gets off. She was a full-time driver. She quit her full-time position and became a substitute. She drives in the morning. After she gets off her bus, she goes to work at the Council on Aging, and she does not come back. Miss Becky Decker takes all the high school kids home in the afternoon. We have 1 bus in the afternoon. And I have spoke with Miss Becky.
I'm saying there's 2 buses allocated for the area. I'm not saying 1 bus, half of the 2 buses pick up 2 loads, and 1 bus, we put them on the same bus. You have 2 buses for the area. You know why we have 1 bus? That's 1 bus may bring the kids home? Because you don't need 2 buses. But we have 2 buses allocated for the kids. So if there's in a need that there's more students need to be brought to the high school, you have 2 buses available.
Okay,
And you have 2 buses in the area that's bringing the kids to and from.
Excuse me. Do you know how many kids are riding that bus in the afternoon? How full that bus is?
I can't, I have to check with my transportation supervisor.
And also too, mention of, facilities not being there. We mentioned, Dr. B mentioned in the outlay that we will have to invest in some more capital improvement in the parish, just based off of some of the buildings we already have. That building at the Napoleonville Primary should never have built the way it was built with this board when it was built. It's an inadequate building when it was built and designed, but this board approved that in the past. So that building is not suited for the school site when it was built. They took away a full gym facility. When I went there, it was a full gym up until that building was demolished. This board should have replaced that as a regular building, and we wouldn't have that problem today. That building is inadequate for the student count that's there now. My kids go there. I know they have to separate their celebrations and their programs, which works because that's how they have to make it work. So we get to attend our kids' things separately. They're in 2 different grade levels, so they can't even be together now. That's a problem that we created, that this district created when you approved that building earlier when it shouldn't have been built that way to begin with. So we do have some hurdles to get over with capital improvement. Our high school is expandable, and this model with that one transition between elementary and high school will allow us to grow or shrink more easily as well. So if we do see a decline in enrollment continuously like we have seen, which is why we're talking about this, it's about enrollment. It's about student enrollment and what we can offer per grade level. We have the opportunity to be able to grow easier or shrink easier if we need to. These properties that we're moving to, we need to build new facilities once any plan is in place and it's settled and it's working, and we can improve on that as a board, which we should be doing every year anyway, looking at capital improvement, looking at outlay and see where we can improve. It will allow us to expand or contract more easily with that one transition and utilizing the least amount of facilities as possible as we can.
Since you have plans for all the other schools, Belrose Middle School become a warehouse, all the other school but Pierpont is on the list. I was asked, if a public charter school wants to open in a district and the district has buildings that's not being used by the district needs to allow the charter to use the building. District fight is ultimately lost out. So if, I know that some of our parents are looking into doing this. So would you consider allowing us to use the Pierpont Middle School for a charter school?
Ms.
Since
Dodd,
they would not be used.
I don't think that is on what's on the agenda. We have, no ma'am, that is not on the
That's one of
agenda.
the questions I'm
And we
asked, so
have, I agree,
not
and that's a
into
question for a later time. I believe that we have two motions on the table, and
We're
I
not
believe
making
that
no
we should move to vote on the two motions that we have in place.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm good.
I'm okay.
No.
I think I agree with you, Madam President.
Time.
You've had a discussion respectfully and heard each other out, and if you want to take up the first substitute motion, I think Ms. Melissa should handle that as a roll call.
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, it's not time to speak, Mr. Dennis.
Madam
Please
President.
please respect the board. Please respect the board, sir. I ask you to please respect the board. We're going to move to Ms. Melissa. Can you please take a roll call vote?
Madam President, one more closing before we have this. I would just like to say that I think we should take a scalpel to it, a slow move, see how it works out. I know Mr. Abraham was talking about accommodations and all, but that's not taking into the fact that the kids, it's just what we can accommodate. Okay? That's what I think. And the plan, as it is, it's also, you can go from 8th, you can include the 7th if it works. Okay? So I just think you take it slow.
Yes, sir.
So
that's your
Madam
motion.
President, the substitute motion on the floor right now was submitted by my colleague, Mr. Rick Myers.
Yes, sir.
So if this motion does not pass, then we back to the original motion, just for point of clarity and understanding
Thank you.
for the community, okay?
Yes, sir. So, Ms. Melissa, can you take a roll call vote on the alternative motion that Mr. Myers has put in place, please?
Mr. Lewis? No. Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Ms. Barra?
No.
Ms. Fletcher Mickens? No. Mr. Abear?
No.
Mr. Washington?
No.
Mrs. Hood?
No.
Mrs. Orso?
Yes.
Mrs. Dugas?
Yes.
Substitute motion fails 3-6.
So now we will go and place the motion on the table to vote for the CSR proposal. Ms. Melissa, can you take a roll call vote on that as well?
Mr. Lewis? Yes. Mr. Meyer?
No?
Ms. Barra?
Yes.
Ms. Fletcher Mickens?
Yes.
Mr. Abear?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mrs. Hood?
Yes.
Mrs. Orso?
No.
Mrs. Dugas?
Absolutely no.
Motion passes 6-3.
We're going to move on. Number 8, comments and announcements from the board members and administration.
So much for one happy family, people.
You people are going to
Any
be
comments
dismantling
from the
public
board?
education in
Sir,
the parish.
please respect the board. Any comments and announcements from the board members and/or administration?
So, as we grow older as adults, we normally resist change. But I can tell you, over the years, nothing is constant but change. Nothing remains the same. If you want to talk about change, I could tell you about what changed in my life in 1954 when the United States Supreme Court said that it was illegal to have a racial segregation in public schools. And this was a case of Brown versus the Board of Education in Topeka, Kansas. Am I right, Counselor? And this ended this. So at that point in 1970, when I should have graduated from W.H. Reed, which is now in the Porterville Primary School, they told me I had to go to Assumption. The whites didn't want us over there and the blacks didn't want to be there, but we had to be there. And that's a bad fact. Look at us now. These kids are learning to cohabitate, they exist, and they're enjoying life together as it is. So we resist change. Normally, that's in our DNA as you grow older. Nothing is constant but change. We like the status quo. But you know what? I can tell you, coming from retired in a company, he worked in a major production company, Stores Electric. You see, if Exxon ran their business today like they did 30 years ago, they wouldn't be in business. And that's the same thing for BASF, Right Electric, and all these other companies. So we don't run into hurdles along the way, but that's with everything in life. I ran into hurdles trying to raise a family. You know, I had decisions I had to make, but this is the way it is. And to my colleagues who said no to this thing, let me tell you something. We've had contentious votes along this very same platform here in years to come. And when I got to the point where I said I knew I was up against the wall, against something what I wanted, an issue that I wanted passed, and I knew I was up against the wall because I couldn't get it passed. When I left home, I asked God to give me the strength to accept the will of my fellow board members. And when I walk out this meeting, when the gavel struck and said adjourn, I walk out. When I walk out that door, I made peace with it because I left peace with it. I left 219 Derrick Street in Belrose. Thank you, Madam President. You can have the rest of my time.
Madam President,
Go ahead.
now that the board has made a decision, I spoke to an educator that's been in the parish for a long time today because I respect her. I've been loving her since I had her when I was a kid. She had some of the same concerns that we talked about, and we talked for a good while today. And what I asked for her to do and what she offered me before I asked was she's going to support whatever this board decides and be positive and work with the people that we have to accomplish whatever we need to accomplish for the kids. So that's all I ask everybody in the room here, that we trust in our leadership team, we trust in our teachers and our staff, the board members to support that and hold them accountable and to be a part of that process throughout, to judge how this is progressing and work together. Be supportive. The board has spoken. The vote was taken. Now we have to move forward and make sure we support the people that are going to implement this, support this, and take care of our kids every day. It's not going to be comfortable. Nothing truly great is comfortable in the beginning. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of people in the district that are very, very educated, very talented. They know what they're doing, and they still have issues and things that we need to work through too. We need to be talking to those people and make sure that their input is valued and that they're supported, and that our top leaders in the district are not bombarded with negativity and with residual, I guess, whatever it may be after this vote. It happened. We have to move forward with the district. We have to be positive and supportive and support our leadership because speaking personally, I trust that you guys can accomplish this, and I trust that you have every child's best interest at heart, my kids at heart.
Okay.
Thank you.
I also have 3 grandkids in this system also.
Okay.
Okay. And I do respect each and every one of our people that's here tonight and that has worked to do this. But I also feel like it was not taken into consideration what it's going to do to some of our students. I do not think it's a good thing. I could have accepted the 8th graders. Our 7th graders are just too young. It's too immature. I went to the school this week. It is chaos. There is nothing. There is construction going on everywhere. We tried to do a micro center, 1 room, and it's taken us over a year. And we're going to fix everything that's wrong at the high school in 4 months and have all those kids on that campus? I can't see that. So what are you going to do if it's not ready? Do you have a plan in place if this is not ready? Does anybody have a plan?
We have a team.
We have agreed.
I'm sorry?
I think the high school should be ready, because the majority of the work that you're seeing is gonna be around the exterior of that building. The inside of that facility will be put back together, I think faster than you realize. I think the point of the micro center that you're referring to was, it was just a mess from the beginning, and, I won't point fingers and call names, but, I think if we move on from that, we can do better work and do the job a little bit quicker. We have a great contract on that job, everything's
There was wires hanging all over, and, well,
That aggregation system throughout David in terrible shape, so we're trying to move forward, so some of those things will happen in construction, but I think it'll have to be right.
Dr. Lee, you told us Monday that you didn't have a plan because this had not been worked on, had not been voted on, that it was too much work to do. If it doesn't happen, how long will it take you to get a plan?
Well, I don't want to say we didn't have a plan, because we've been working on it. Well, I think what you asked for, like, is like a final product, you know? So when we look at how we are going to map this out, it takes all of what we talked about earlier in consideration. So when we start having these conversations with our community, and we're going back into, I know for myself, to my core meetings and talk to my staff, you know, it's going to take us to roll this out in phases, because we need to talk about transportation and let the parents know we have an idea. We do. But we have to make sure, and just like somebody said on the board, you're going to have some ups and downs throughout this process.
Yeah.
So to ask for an end product, and this is how it's going to work, and it's going to work perfectly like that, I don't think that's fair to ask anyone, you know? So no, we don't have a complete, hey, it's going to work like this, and this is exactly the way everything is going to work out, because that may change within the next couple months when we start bringing kids up, and we might enroll more kids, might lose kids, we might lose teachers, you know, you just never know.
Yeah, I didn't ask you that. I asked you what the plan was. I'm smart enough to know that we're going to have hiccups.
I appreciate, yes, I appreciate the board, and I appreciate the team in Assumption Parish. I voted yes because I believe in this parish. I believe in every single person in this parish, and I believe everybody, if we have the positive impact and the positive input, and we put our children first, all of our children, yes, it is uncomfortable. I have children all over this parish that I love, care for. Every single person's child is somebody I love and care for.
Really?
But it's not going to be easy, but we are one voice. The rest of you help make up a team. So I appreciate everybody. If nobody else has any questions or comments.
I just have one more thing.
oh, yeah.
It's gonna be tough, and I think it's gonna be really tough. But I think I'd be remiss if I didn't state that the former superintendent had a plan to do consolidation, and it was roundly voted down, and this might have mitigated all of this, and that's all I got.
I have one more too, just based on the, comment about the buildings and, there's wires hanging, construction going on. We're trying to be proactive now in the last couple of years to get things done that y'all have been, that the district has been asking for forever. We're trying to identify the problems that have, happened in the past and decisions that may not have been as great in the past and move forward. So let's congratulate the team, the maintenance team, and the contractors that we have now, and some of the people that we're choosing to work with now that are actually accomplishing these things in a timely way, and getting rid of the decisions that have put us in this place in the first place. So we need to congratulate the construction that's going on and the projects that we have taken on this year.
And I'd just like to add, not only the construction teams, but I would also like to say congratulations and thank you to the teachers who have to move building to building in the middle of the school year, because that does not go unnoticed, and you guys rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and congratulations to our leadership team that has taken this under their belt, and you guys are going to have a time the next few months, and we are behind you 100%.
That's
100%.
And we will hold everybody accountable.
Yeah, it's about accountability, okay, and that's it. So
I'd like to say this on a different note. I'd like to say congratulations to Ms. Hood, because she did an excellent job at chairing the meeting tonight. It wasn't by fire, it wasn't the best meeting, but for her to start, but she did a terrific job.
And
Thank you very much. And CSR,
good job.
CSRS, thank you all very much. You helped me make my decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, Butch. All in favor?